Every time Porsche has released an RS version of whatever GT3 they happen to be building, its customers have always come back saying, well, that was fine, that was really, really good fun, but next time, could you give us just a little bit more? And they always have. But this time, they haven't given it a little bit more. They've given it a whole lot more. Allow me to explain. This is unquestionably the most track-focused 911 that has been built probably since the 911R back in 1967, and if you remember that, then you're even older than me. The principal changes to the car are these. For the first time, it uses a completely different body to any previous GT3 or GT3 RS. It uses the wide body from the turbo. The 911 now comes with 3 body sizes. This is the widest. Like previous RS models, it's also wider at the front. But the real difference, the thing that Porsche talks about before they talk about the engine or the suspension or the brakes, is the aero package on the car. The aerodynamics on this car are what they say is what makes it different to any other 911 that has ever been built. It has 110 kilograms of downforce just on the front. That wing produces another 235 kilograms of downforce. So on total, you have 345 kilos of downforce pressing the car into the ground. That is 3 times as much as the current GT3 car. The chassis is completely different too. Front and rear, there are different roll bars, there are different dampers. The rear springs have to be uprated simply to take into account the amount of downforce that the car now generates at the back. This is also now a 4-litre engine, albeit one that is unrelated to the 4-litre in the 997 GT3 RS. It provides another 25 horsepower, which is nice, but much more importantly, it provides a much fatter and flatter torque curve. So what does this all add up to? Well, there's a racetrack just over there, so I'm going to get in that, get out there and find out. So this is the Bilsterberg circuit. It's a privately owned thing built by someone who's clearly deranged. It is genuinely one of the most challenging, in part scary, but largely very exhilarating tracks you could ever wish to go to. If you ever get a chance for any reason to come here and drive anything around it, I couldn't recommend it more. They put bumps in the straight just to kind of keep you on your toes and stop you getting bored. Anyway, let's go. So, GT3 RS. What do you notice first about it? I guess the relentless nature of the engine. You really notice with the additional torque of the engine that you have to be a bit less careful about what gear you're in because the torque will fill in the gaps for you in a way that it probably wouldn't do so much in a normal GT3. Then as you start to push a bit harder, blimey, he is really going for it. I guess it's the brakes probably next. This car's got the optional carbon ceramic brakes on it, and despite all the tricks in the world, the car is sliding around quite a lot. And they are amazing, they're just completely tireless, which is great. But I guess the real difference you notice with this car, which is, as Porsche said it would be, is in the chassis, where the car at first just feels a lot more precise. It's much easier at hitting its marks, and you wonder whether that's because of the extra rubber or the wider track. And then you think about it a bit more and you think about where it's doing it, and it's in the high speed car. In this low speed stuff, as you can see, it's actually, on what I suspect are quite an old tired set of boots, it's actually quite lively, to put it mildly. Then you come into the faster corners and it feels, well, I will try to show you in a minute. This is the slowest part of the circuit we're at here, where it plunges downhill. You've got to be so careful of balance with the throttle. And then you go up over this insane blind brow, and here the car just feels completely planted, and that's the aero. You never ever get that on a normal GT3. That is 3 times the downforce that you would normally get. And now, because talking and driving is not something I usually do at the best of times, let alone when trying to follow a factory race driver around the track. The car's more lively than I thought it would be. These tyres might be slightly past their best. Moves around quite a lot, even though I've genuinely got everything turned on. So I was quite surprised by that, but it's just being a sports car, which is probably something we should be pleased about. Yeah, it's not a toy. It's not like a GT4 Cayman where you just feel there's almost nothing you can do to it, which it wouldn't just sort of accept happily. It's a proper, serious adult's machine, and I think for a car like this, that's entirely as it should be. I think probably the point to make about this car is it's 130 grand, which is 30 something more than a GT3. But then you start thinking about, okay, well, what else for that kind of money is going to do what this does? And the answer is nothing. Nothing at all that I can think of. Particularly not when you add in the civility that comes with it when you drive on the road. Extraordinary device. Ferrari Speciale, probably as quick, maybe a bit quicker, but another 100 grand. That's the point.